Well, welcome back, everybody. And as you can tell, the world has grown in 2022. So we're here with you, ready to rock and roll and ready to experience the first quarter of the world expected on pop culture. We're talking TV, we're talking films, we're talking everything. And we are here with some dear friends from all the way on the other side of the planet. I'm talking about none other than pop culture spread themselves, Rick and Jason. And
Hey,
yeah, and we're
God.
joined with comic conversation aficionado, Brandon Lou. Brandon Lou.
That's me. That's me. Can we hear the song again? I really like that.
That was a good one.
yeah.
Walk around like Manhattan. Guys, so good to see you. Welcome back. We are in the place to be virtually because of this pandemic that continues to rage on, but it's made some amazing exceptions for us that have opened the doors where windows have closed and allowed us to really embrace our friends on the other side of the globe. And in a way where we don't have to endanger ourselves because their entire ether is full of little tiny things that would kill us. So this works out so well. We protect ourselves and we're safe in the very comforts of our own home. As you can tell by Brandon having his bedpost right behind him.
Yeah, I'm ready for it. I'm ready.
He's sleeping with us. This is amazing. We never expected how well this would work out. So we're going to go right into it. I'm going to let Jazz kick it off, and Rick, we're going to start talking about the first thing that's coming out that piqued our interest more so than anything else, especially for me anyway. And that's Peacemaker. Peacemaker. Peacemaker is just one of the biggest things I want to see, not because John Cena is in it and he did so cool and so well in the big Suicide Squad film that was released earlier last year. But I don't know, this thing just has so much things pumping up and getting me excited. Guys, take it away from me because I'm going to start stuttering because I'm so excited.
Yeah, look, what can you say about the Peacemaker? It came out as a real shock when they announced it. I mean, it came out really late in production of the Suicide Squad that they were making a series. And even more shockingly, that James Gunn was not only writer, but he was directing, I believe, most of it at this point.
Yep, that's correct.
So, you know, I mean, I was interested, but once I saw the Suicide Squad, I'm like, I totally get why they're making a series. And after seeing the footage that we have seen so far on it, I got to say, I really love the direction they're going in this series because it seems like a redemptive story. You know, this is Peacemaker coming face to face with maybe some of his weaknesses, some of the pain he's caused over the time. And it looks uber cool and funny. So, yeah, this looks amazing. And I'm thrilled to say, Rick, even though they have HBO Max over there, so they're very lucky, we will be getting it same day and date every episode here in Australia too.
On binge.
So Aussie, oi, oi, oi. They're all good.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. I mean, this is awesome. I mean, you know, this character's old. Like, the first appearance of him was in 1966, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, and a lot of people probably don't know much about him and when he came out and John Cena, he's got such range now, and he's so good coming from being a wrestler into being an actor now. He's got that comic side of him, and just seeing him in Suicide Squad was just awesome. And obviously they see something in him and this character to put a show on of itself. So I can't wait. It's going to be great.
And who better to merge wrestling and acting than Brandon? So Brandon, please give us your thoughts on it.
Why am I plugging things now? No.
Plug away.
No, I'm excited for Peacemaker. Yes, I am a wrestling fan. I've had a couple of comic conversation episodes that, you know, we talked about wrestling on the program. So I feel like that's what Joe was talking about. This is really cool, but it's not even the wrestling side. Like, it's not just because it's John Cena and I'm a wrestling fan. Over the years, John Cena has actually kind of put like a little resume for himself. And I think that Suicide Squad really allowed John Cena to show that he can take the ball and he can carry the ball and he could run a franchise if someone really wanted to do that for him. I was also shocked to see that James Gunn was sticking with it, that I really didn't know what to expect until the movie came out. I feel like I'm just repeating Jason at this point. But you didn't know, it's like, wait, hold on, John Cena's getting a TV show? Wait, and it's Peacemaker? Oh, but James Gunn is gonna stick with it the whole time? Okay, and the trailers have, like, a new trailer just dropped too. So they're teasing me, and it can't come fast enough. I'm ready.
Yeah, it's interesting when if you think about it though. James Gunn, he's doing the same thing what he did with John Cena that he did with Dave Bautista, isn't he?
Yeah.
Dave Bautista, and so far, and I love Dave Bautista, but the clearly the best performance Dave Bautista's done so far is Drax the Destroyer.
Yeah.
And I think James Gunn is just such a great director in the way I think he gets the best out of those guys, and like you said, Brandon, gives them that platform to shine. And rather than them having to be a thespian, it just picks out the best parts of their personality and gets them to lean on that. And I look, there's a lot of heart in that trailer. I don't know what you guys thought, but there seems to be a lot of emotion around it too. So it's great to see John Cena. Now we can see him.
Yeah.
He will get a chance to shine, hopefully.
And Rick, you were talking about how long Peacemaker's actually been in comics, and it feels like, just like Suicide Squad did before, this show is going to lean into that, because we're going to get Judo Master as one of the
yeah, that's right. One of the pure guys are getting their time to shine.
Yeah, I haven't heard Judo Master name in 40 years, I don't reckon.
Like Judo Master is the kind of person I expect to see get beat up in a half-hour animated program, maybe like Batman Brave and the Bold cartoon.
Right.
Maybe he'll get hit with a boxing arrow from Green Arrow. That's the kind of thing that I expect to see from Judo Master. But now he's getting some spotlight. So good for you. Good for you on the come up.
And I believe, now just check this because I do have it here. It is January 13th, series premiere.
That's right.
So what is that? That's 11 days away.
Yeah.
Less than a couple of weeks, guys.
Would have been Betty White's 100th birthday.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty sad, isn't it? Oh,
yeah, sorry.
I saw a TikTok video of somebody filming magazine stands. And all the magazine stands were filled with Betty White turns 100. Betty White turns 100.
Yeah.
So the whole industry was getting geared up for 100th birthday. Very sad.
Very sad.
Very sad.
We gotta put a bubble of protection around James Earl Jones and Rick Van Dyke.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
Absolutely. Don't even go there, Joe. I'll start crying now.
I'll come from Australia.
Dick Van
Dyke. Animals.
I will become a blubbering mess. Yeah. All right.
I am kind of excited for this one. I'm curious to see what you guys' thoughts are. In the same time frame, we've got the big Sony follow-up in their next film, Foray, and that's Morbius. That'll be coming out in April 2022. Big Sony feature, which has the original Marvel Universe supplanted into it. So I can see from the trailer that they do have a lot of coming up, and teasers. Even Michael Keaton appears in the trailer. It's your typical vampire story where a man wants to live longer, and the secret is buried away in a cave in some forgotten island somewhere, lost deep in the woods in a far forgotten city that only like 12 people, including himself, have heard of. And that is the only way to live forever and beat the disease that's bogging him down. But, with great power comes great responsibility. And the only way to feed said non-aging and killing paralysis is to feast on the blood of innocent. So it's kind of a strange story, but I'm here for it.
Yeah. Look, it is an interesting concept to have what primarily is a villain, a Spider-Man villain.
Right.
And make him a lead kind of anti-hero. I don't know what to think about this. Yeah. But I just don't know what to think about this film, because we have the version of Sony that makes Spider-Man No Way From Home, but we also have the version of Sony that makes Venom Let There Be Carnage. And I'm more afraid that this is going to be more leaning towards Venom Let There Be Carnage than it will
Oh,
to a Spider-Man. Look, Jared Leto's great. I don't know if you guys have seen House of Gucci.
Yeah,
Holy
I have.
crap!
Shit.
Awful.
terrible
He's
fucking
awful
movie.
in that film.
Bad
Um,
movie.
That is the most racist performance I think I've ever seen someone
Yeah, it's
do.
pretty
It is.
Pretty
It
bad.
is. He's
I
like,
know.
I loved it. Yeah, no, it's just horrific. So I don't know what to think about this film. I want it to work. I like the idea they're kind of integrating it, but just I mean, why don't they just bring Blade in from the MCU? Just cut his head off.
Well,
We get
they-
a 5-minute movie. We're done. We're out.
They originally,
Everyone
they
will love
originally going to put Morbius in Blade, but he got cut in the first and second. They were actually going to introduce him into it, and then obviously the studios cut him, and fucking that was it. So now he's got his own. Oh, I'm looking forward to this movie. I am. I think it's great, only for a couple of reasons. There's a couple of reasons I like this movie.
And
One is, if you look in the history of obviously in the comics and all that, he's got like he does cross over with Jennifer She-Hulk and that as well in the comics. So I'm like kind of excited. Are they going to cross that over into the MCU and all that together? You can see that kind of happening. I'm just thinking, I'm spitballing here, people. And I'm a big fan of Jared Leto. I think I like him. I think it's great. I don't think this is going to be a fantastic over-the-top movie. I think it's going to be enjoyable. I don't think it's going to be a bad movie.
Rick,
I think it's gonna be
why do I have the feeling when we go and see this at the cinema, I'm going to be
Love it.
like,
Look, see?
and you're going to be like,
Oh,
I knew you were going to drop that. Yeah.
Look at you.
Yeah.
It's
Do it. I'm telling you. We might be impressed. I'm telling you, we might be impressed with this movie.
Rick, I will say this publicly. I will bet you $50 right now that you walk
money
out of
table.
that film going in shit house. And you won't. We've known each other 20 years, so you won't be able.
I'll
to
be
lie to me
honest.
about
I'll
it.
be honest. I'll be
I'll
honest.
be able
Yeah,
to tell.
$50. Yeah.
$50. I'm happy
go,
to
this
give it
is
to you. If the
shit.
film's good, I'll go.
Now,
No problem.
somewhere between Rick and Jason is where I fall. I'm right in the middle of the border right there because I'm looking forward to the movie, but I'm fully expecting it to be trash. And
Am I the only one on this?
and I don't want to put this on Jared Leto. However, and I really don't like insulting actors. As a theater major myself, I know it's a hard job. I like to think that everybody brings something to the table, and I don't like to call anyone a bad actor. But Tyrese is in this movie, and I don't like Tyrese.
Nope.
Maurice Gibson.
Nope.
Come on.
No. Tyrese really, his biggest moment in cinema was Transformers. And that alone is
I
the.
thought the Fast and Furious
Yeah, he's in
franchise.
Fast
No?
and Furious. Look,
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
he has a career, and good for him. But oh my god, I'm not looking forward to anything he's in.
He was better as a model.
I don't.
Just look pretty.
But I'm still gonna man up, and I'm still gonna watch this movie. Because I do like Morbius. I don't know how I feel about him being the leading character in a film. I think he would be better as like a cameo or guest appearance, the villain, almost like Sandman was in Spider-Man 3, where he starts out as a villain, but then by the end of it, we see that he's going through shit, and and he's
There
not
a reason.
right.
He was there to save his daughter. That's why
Right.
he did everything he did.
Yeah.
Totally relatable. And I 100% agree with you. I think that's the
That's why you have a
fundamental
daughter?
problem with this idea is the fact that we've got a character that's not, the fans haven't been screaming for this film.
Mhm.
And it feels like Jared Leto's gone to Sony and go, I want to be a superhero. And they've gone to the bottom of the barrel out of their library of Sony and gone, well, we got Morbius left. Would you be, I'm in. I'm in.
Well, I think that's actually
Nah.
Sony's fault, not Jared Leto's fault. Because
No,
Sony-
Jared Leto's doing what Jared Leto's
Hey.
doing.
no, but Sony is not giving up Spider-Man. They're never going to
No,
sell Spider-Man to Marvel. And while they have Spider-Man, they're going to get as much money as they can milking every character that's come out of that
course.
franchise. So, yeah, it's like, who do we have that most looks like a vampire in Hollywood right now? And I think that's what Jared Leto, in real life, he looks like a vampire.
Yeah.
And
Admit that.
He needs to eat a steak occasionally, I think.
Mm.
it's like,
Get some protein in his body. He looks so gaunt.
while everyone else was booing him in Joker, Sony was like, "We found our
That's right.
Morbius."
Yeah,
And-
true.
Yeah.
but I would like it to do well. I don't expect it to, but I would like it to do well. I think that Morbius in comics has a very tragic origin. The idea that he was this doctor who's trying to cure his own disease, and he wasn't doing it by himself. His best friend was also helping him, and in comics, because of the bloodlust, he ends up killing his own best friend who was trying to help him cure the disease in the first place. That's tragic stuff. And
yeah, there's a lot of emotional weight in that.
if we can get that level of emotion out of this instead of it being just a superhero film, then we're okay. But I'm seeing like this feels like a mid-2000 superhero film to me, and I don't.
That's on point.
Here's
100%.
one caveat that I'm going to say, because I know there's 2 naysayers and 2.5 naysayers. I know Rick's excited for it, but
Oh, come on!
like, but one thing I will say, there is sort of like this cult online pushing the new hashtag restore the Amazing Spider-Man universe. There's a particular hashtag to bring back Andrew Garfield, especially with his performance based off of No Way Home. So I'm wondering if that could set up for a Sinister Six where he'll team up. Like Toby might not come back, but Garfield really enjoyed being Spider-Man. He just got a really shitty second act. So this could lead to a return of a team up, so to speak, of Garfield and Holland, where maybe at the end of Morbius we see maybe like him coming up on a Spider-Man, but you don't know which one it is.
Yeah. Yeah. See, here's an interesting question, though. Is Venom in the same universe as this current Morbius? Because it was established that Venom wasn't in the MCU universe. He got brought in from No Way Home.
Right.
But in the trailer for Morbius, we've got the Vulture. We've got that graffiti about Spider-Man. So I suppose that's all dependent on where the hell Morbius lies, which universe he lies in.
Well, I'm gonna
how they could do that, because if he lies outside the MCU universe, absolutely you could have him meet the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man.
Yeah,
and have that independent to what Tom Holland and the MCU are doing.
Right, because I mean there was Sensational Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man.
There's so many titles you could put.
There's so many titles.
The Type 2 diabetic Spider-Man.
Yeah.
There's plenty of them.
The diabetic Spider-Man. What are those web shooters?
Shoots out insulin.
So I think whether or not Morbius is in the MCU or not completely depends on how good the Morbius movie is.
Yeah.
Because if it bombs, I don't see, like, MCU hasn't had a bomb. There's movies that I don't like, but they've made money.
Yeah.
Like all of them have made money. MCU has
like
no
Iron
bomb.
Man 3 is awful.
No.
We disagree.
You know, I don't even know what is.
Why? Iron Man 3 is awesome.
No.
Really?
Iron Man 3 is fantastic.
I like Iron Man 3. I like it.
Iron Man 3 is great.
You're gonna tease one of my favorite villains and then go, nah, he's not in it. Sorry. Hey. I was like, well, go fuck yourself.
All I'm saying is, if Morbius does well, he's in the MCU. That's really what 100%. It is.
Yeah,
because they've already teased Keaton.
Yeah,
you know, it's not even a tease. He's in the commercial.
He knows he's in it. He's in it.
Yeah, he's in it.
Yeah. So it's something where if it's good, we'll see him, and if it's not, it's going to be Sony exclusive.
Yeah, and Venom will show up at the end then.
Yeah, just a little useless cameo, and that's it.
Just wiggling.
yeah, just little squibbies. Well, I mean, that's going to wrap up Spider-Man. Now let's, Morbius. Let's jump into the horror fray. One of the big ones.
Love a good horror film.
Love a good horror film. One of the ones I'm super excited about is Scream 5, the return to the Ghostface franchise. We've got our beloved characters from the original all returning. This is going to be I believe the 10th anniversary of Wes Craven's passing, the originator of the franchise. So it's going to be interesting to see where this partakes. How is this going to play into the entire series. As you know, all of the original men behind the Ghostface mask have been killed. So there's really no one kind of left to linger around to kind of connect this, unless it's a revenge story. Maybe like, oh, my cousin, you bastard, you killed him. So come back and get revenge as Ghostface. But I don't really see that happening. I'm wondering if they're going to take the Ghostface and make him a more paranormal, i.e., Jason and Freddy. And I'd love to hear.
Yeah, or even Michael Myers in the old franchise. They did that as well.
Yeah. So what do you guys think?
Oh, look, the Scream franchise, I think it's been the diminishing returns over the films, to be honest with you. I mean, I think Scream itself is an excellent movie, and I really like Scream 2. And like I said, probably liked each one less. To that horrible, did you watch that Netflix show they come out with a couple of years ago?
The slasher one? Yeah.
Oh, my. No, it was called Scream.
No, right. Yeah, but it was.
It was horrible. It was awful. And it really kind of, but I want to love this. I mean, I love a good slasher film. I grew up in the 80s where every year I got to see a new Freddy film, a new Jason film, a new Michael Myers film.
Pinhead.
So I that was my formative years as a teenager. So I've got a real soft spot for slasher films. I really want this to work because I also want to see those characters back on the screen again. What can I say? And hopefully they can make it. No way they'll make it as good as Wes Craven's original, but if they can kind of get it to be a film that we all respect and love, kind of like the reboot of the first Halloween they did in 2018.
Right. Yep.
If they can go that kind of direction, I think I'm on board. But I don't know if I'm going to spend money at the cinema to see it. That's the question I've got. It hasn't sold me on going to buy a movie ticket yet.
Right. I feel like I'm not a big horror buff, but I realized that last year I've only watched about 5 movies and all of them were superhero films. It feels like, and I need something new. Yeah. I need and Scream 5. Scream is this familiar franchise that I have seen the first one. I have not seen the others. But there's still, even though I'm not like a fan of the franchise, there's this just enough nostalgia to pull me in. And so I'm a little excited for it. Like I kind of like, I want to see this. And I don't know where it will go. I don't know if it'll be a familiar face under the mask. I don't know. I would prefer it was a human. I see you toss the question, Joe, is this going to be a little more paranormal? But I felt like that first one spoke so much about horror in general because there was a lot of references to older films and
all the tropes.
And all the tropes. And I feel like this being a reboot might speak to maybe some of the reboots we've seen, some of whatever trends are happening right now. And I just kind of hope it stays smart. Like I would like it. Like it's still a slasher. I don't expect it to be a Scorsese level praise, but I still want it to speak on what's happening in horror today.
You're so right. I mean, that's why those, especially the first 2 films, why they work so well is because they're smart. They were smart. Like the scripts were very tight. Yeah, absolutely. Rick, you're a non-horror fan.
Look, I'm in the same boat as Brandon. I'm not a massive horror fan. I started, watching, Halloween and all that and absolutely loved it. I mean, this is 25 years after the original series of murders. Is this just a cash cow? I just feel like this is just a cash cow that the studios are going, let's try and revamp the series, let's try and make some money. And I just feel that, a lot of other movies that we've seen try and do these reboots and all that, let's just take The Matrix. What an absolute pile of shit that was. It was a fucking train wreck of a movie. You know what I mean? And that just killed it for a lot of people. So it's just going to do the same thing. I mean, no offense to Nev Campbell and Courtney Cox, but fuck, man. But look, I'm probably the same as you, Jason. I probably won't go to the movies and see this. I'll probably, I'll definitely watch it and check it out. But I don't have high hopes for this. I really don't. So, yeah. That's
Well,
it.
Well, I have like this movie pass. I'm paying like a subscription to so since I'm paying, I might as well just stop by and see the movie.
Yeah.
wait.
Hey,
Put a
I'll
movie
let
pass
you
for
know.
wrestling? I'm a big horror fan. I grew up in the same era of jazz, and it's just big for me to see these slashers. I loved Nightmare on Elm Street. That's probably one of my favorites, and Hellraiser is probably right up there, if not the same. And Halloween was always big. I used to watch all those on VHS because they were actually preventing kids my age from going into those movies. when
Not here in Australia, mate.
They were
I
like,
would go up
hold up,
as a
kid.
9-year-old. I'd go, can I go and see Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors? Yes.
Yeah.
Please go in.
Yeah,
We
go
want
for
you to be mentally scarred for a while.
But so that nostalgia is kind of weird, but having the original cast is a big pull for me. But I feel like Rick said, I was so hyped up for Matrix, and I wanted it to be so good that I was like trying to find ways to be like, no, they're doing this on purpose because and I, my friends, I have a buddy named Mark. He runs a photography studio, really brilliant guy. He taught me a lot of things that helped the channel exponentially. And when Game of Thrones last season came out and it was utter trash, I was like trying to defend it so hard, and he just pulled me aside. He called me. He's like, "Bro, it sucked." And I feel like I'm there again with this. Like it's gonna be awful.
What the most I can hope for is I hope that it's good, but I hope that there's no part 6.
Yes.
Just
The Matrix franchise is dead.
I think about the movie It, and in fairness to whatever they were trying to do, that was a 2-part. When it was a television movie back in, what was that, the early 90s, late 80s? I don't even remember.
Yeah, 1990.
That was a 2-parter then too.
Right.
So I'm not upset that there was a second It movie, but that first It raised the bars. Like, oh man, this is actually a good reboot. I can't wait for part 2. And then part 2's reboot came out, and oh no.
Yeah.
It gave hope and then took it away
At the same
I
time.
hope that Scream 5 is good, but then that's it.
Can I just tell you a quick story about It Part 2? I went and saw It Part 2, right, when it came out. And you guys will have seen Seinfeld. You ever remember that bit in Seinfeld where George is at the cinema and he just loses it at somebody? I've never done that in my life, but I had that moment in It too. We had a group of real smart-ass teenagers, and I sat there for an hour and a half, and I wasn't enjoying the movie, and they just kept talking, and then I just got up, and I just said, will you shut the fuck up? You don't get out here. I'm going to come over there. I'm going to fucking drag you down there. Mate, yeah, they got kicked out, and I got an applause afterwards.
Good for you.
From the crowd.
Good for you.
Work, Jay.
Look at you.
But I think I was probably just taking all that negative energy of this is garbage, and just those poor kids. So, but there you go. I wanted to throw that in.
You were the clown.
Yeah, mate.
They were more afraid of you
hanging out
than
in
the
sewers
clown.
afterwards. Waiting for
They were waiting for him after, weren't they, Jay? So they were waiting outside in the car park.
Yeah. One of my eyes went bong, you know.
Well, that brings us
There
to
you go.
another Seinfeld episode where he's beating up all the kids. Kramer.
Yes.
So you can relive both Seinfeld episodes in that,
Yeah.
that one experience. Man, you should have seen there was like 20 of them. But at first I was a little nervous, but then I started really wailing on these guys.
Absolutely.
And that brings us to the love month, February, where things a nice turn, and we have Death on the Nile, the sequel to Orient Express.
Yeah.
With, the infamous Perot, who is
We're not talking about Army Hammer, are we?
yeah, we're really excited for this one. I mean, they've got Russell Brand out of the Forbidden Zone. Gal Gadot is sharing her experiences in.
Are you excited for it, Joe?
No, Not
Yeah, I didn't think so. I was like, yeah, we're.
Yeah,
we're
it's just-
excited.
I liked the first one.
I was
knew what
stuck with it.
expect.
I was like, who's in this?
I feel the same way, Jason. But I also find that I think it got mediocre reviews. I don't
Yeah.
know a lot of people that saw the first one.
I mean, I didn't love it, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a Mrs. deal. That's like the wife. Here in Australia, we call all our partners the Mrs.
Mhm.
Because we're on the other side of the world and we're weird. But the wife, that was one of the wife goes, I want to go and see it. So we went and saw it. And yeah, Kenneth Branagh's a good filmmaker.
He's good.
I mean, he makes
Mhm.
decent films. And to think I never would have thought a million years would we be getting remakes essentially of these
Right.
Agatha Christie 1970s movies.
Yeah.
Because I remember them as being really small, them coming out, and they were pretty boring when I was a kid. So the
Right.
fact that I've been able to put a bit of life into Agatha Christie novels again, hey, I don't expect this film to be good at all, and I'm not going to go and see it.
Oh,
The
wife
just
was
because I
fine.
don't believe in
we're not.
The
we're not
wife.
gonna
No, we will
Well,
not
this-
be going to see this one, Rick. We won't be lining up on first weekend with this one.
Okay.
It's just the quality of performers. I got to question what kind of performers do we have in this film. Gal Gadot, honestly, guys. I mean, I know, Brandon, you don't like to, but does she have what it takes currently in her career to pull something like that off? I mean, Russell Brand, extremely talented, but can he pull this off? This movie's going to have negative buzz because of all that Army Hammer thing.
Right. I don't even know how much buzz it's gonna get because I really feel like the moment I saw a Gal Gadot on screen, I thought, oh, they're spending money on this.
Yes.
Mm.
Yeah,
Of course.
and I feel like
Hmm.
they were unsatisfied with and when I say they, I mean the studio who I just saw like that trailer and I still don't know who the studio is, but
Yeah.
Spyglass.
Yes.
no, who owns Spyglass? Spyglass ain't got money. Spyglass.
Yeah, that's a parent company.
It is.
I have a feeling it is it Warner Brothers that are like the big parent looking.
I think so
distribution
because when I saw it, I didn't see
around
it.
this.
When I saw the first one, I didn't see it in the theater. I saw it on HBO Max, so it makes sense that it's Warner Brothers.
Warner Brothers.
Um,
Totally.
Brothers. Yep.
but I feel like Warner Brothers want to spend a little more money because maybe they didn't have a problem with the first one. It's like, all right, maybe they just need a little more stars, a little more pizzazz. Let's spend some money add something to the budget. And I am worried that all of that is gonna get in the way of what made the first one just a solid film. Like it wasn't like the best movie in the world.
No.
It was just a solid film. And I thought it was charming. I thought there was comedy when there needed to be comedy. The costumes, the set,
Everything looked fantastic.
everything
great,
looked
yeah.
fantastic. So
Yeah.
now that they're outside of there, and I'm looking at landscapes and Gal Gadot, and I'm like,
Yeah.
oh no, this could be good, but I'm worried that it won't.
Do you think the reason this has gotten greenlit so quickly is because of Knives Out?
Yes.
Knives
murder
Out is a
mystery.
modern take on
Yeah.
Agatha Christie and done so well. I mean, Knives Out to me, one of my favorite films of that year, which is hard to believe because I wasn't too happy with the film he made the previous year with The Last
What, you
Jedi.
mean the Last Jedi? That track?
Yeah. So no, I think that's also driven this a little bit is the success of Knives Out of that murder mystery kind of format.
Well, you have to keep in mind that murder mystery, there's a huge market for murder mystery because people love true crime. And
Oh yes.
this is an element of true crime without being true. This is the
Yeah.
the fantasy realm of it, which is akin to Sherlock Holmes, which was a huge series with Benedict
Exceptional series.
Cumberbatch. Cumberbatch was really great in that show, and that had a massive following. And Spyglass actually is owned by Sybaris Capital Management. They're actually not owned by Warner Brothers, but they partner up. So Warner Brothers,
Yeah, that Warner would be distributor.
yeah, they're the
Right.
distributors, so
Yeah.
they're their own thing, but they're in the back pocket of the big WB.
That makes sense. This isn't going to be a test for Gal Gadot though, because you touched on something, Joe. There is a desire to see something like this. Aside from Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot has not actually, as far as I know, broken major records, or like she has to prove herself as a box office draw.
Right.
Like
Beyond her ability to kick butt, she needs to be able to emote.
yeah,
And I think this is a good opportunity for her to show her emotional range.
and she's surrounded by a fantastic cast. So I feel like even if she wasn't giving her best performance, I feel like there's enough cast there to carry the film. But I think it's going to be a real test on her, but or maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong. I mean, she just drew all those viewers with The Rock and Deadpool on Netflix.
Yeah,
For
but then The
Red
Rock and
Because you look at-
Deadpool are in it though.
Yeah,
I really was not a
Oh,
fan of that movie.
I didn't even bother
Red
trying.
Notice.
I didn't even bother trying.
Oh man,
Uh,
you guys are not giving me much hope to watch it. I have like a whole lot of time after I'm done here. I was thinking about it.
You know what?
My
I know
buddy
you're-
just here, though, sorry, the other way, has been very silent about this film.
Oh,
Yeah,
look,
Rick, what do
you know,
What is
Look,
going
man.
on, Rick?
I remember watching this back in 1978 when the original came out. All right, and back then it had for its day. You know, I was a young kid when I watched these movies. You know, it had Betty Davis, had Angela Lansbury in it. It
Yeah.
had, had a whole heap of good people in there. And then looking at this, I'm like, I enjoyed the first one. I really did. I thought it was a solid movie. I enjoyed it. It was really good. Looking at this, we were talking about the cast that were around her, surrounding Gal. Jennifer Saunders and Dawn French and Russell Brand. It's like 3 comedic characters. Can they actually hold up and make her shine more if she drops the ball in this movie, to say so? You know what I mean? Or are they just putting her in there as because she's one sexy woman and then just putting it in there for that?
Well, that's definitely
she
part
have
of it. She's got to have that appeal, you know. I mean, that's
Right.
you've got to have
They're
that
banking on a lot.
very attractive character in the
Yeah.
film.
Yeah.
The person I want to give a big shout out to, because I've been talking too much about Gal Gadot, but for obvious reasons.
Yeah.
But I had only recently realized that Sophie Okonedo is in that film, and I know her currently for the Wheel of Time series on Amazon.
I haven't watched it yet. Is it worth it?
I enjoy it. I think
it's all right.
I think it had a slow start, and then like business picked up and got really good by the end.
Yeah.
But the reason why I'm bringing her out, and I'm so happy to see her not just in that show but in this film, is that I only recently realized that she was the love interest of Jim Carrey in Ace Ventura 2: Pet Detective.
Wow.
When Nature Calls,
Right.
she was the princess in that movie.
Really?
Yeah.
Shit.
Wow.
And I'm like, like I'm watching her. I'm like, why do you look so familiar to me? Like I've never seen anything you're in, but you look so familiar to me.
She
And then
looks so
I-
young, but she's 53.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Like, that's nuts. Like,
she's gorgeous, and I feel like
Yeah.
right now she's doing the best work. Probably that she's getting a lot of work, and she's getting seen, and I'm genuinely happy about that. Like
She got
I don't even
nominated
know her,
for,
and I'm like, yeah, go Sophie.
yeah, she actually got nominated for an Oscar back in 2004 for Hotel Rwanda.
Oh wow.
I'm not pulling this out of my head. I'm reading it off the screen. so
No, we believe.
I'm not pretending to be smart. But yeah, but I'd forgotten about that. I mean, Hotel Rwanda, which I absolutely love that film. Yeah, she was excellent in that as well.
Well, I got to say, Gal Gadot is getting a lot of opportunities. She's doing a Hedy Lamarr project, a mini TV series, and Snow White is being slated for 2023. If she's going to be the evil queen, she's going to play Irina Sendler, and she's going to be in a movie Heart of Stone right after that, and then Wonder Woman 3.
Oh, well, she's busy.
Wow.
Yeah, she's got a lot
Well,
going on.
Oh, I'm busy too. I'm gonna take care of that clog in the sink later.
Yeah.
I'm packing. I'll get ready. To
Yeah, I've got a kitty litter tray that really needs cleaning.
And what kills me about Gal Gadot is her husband's a billionaire. He's like the Jeff Bezos of Israel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Give her credit. She doesn't have to do
this. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. She's just
Yeah.
like, and then when she was bitching, like, well, I don't know if she was bitching or people were complaining that, well, she only got $300,000 for Wonder Woman. I'm like, oh, fuck, I'll take $300,000.
Yeah, man.
Like, come on, she don't need it.
I think people just have a misunderstanding of how the contracts work.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like this is new. She's really new, and
Yeah.
it's a risk. Because
Also,
it's Warner Brothers. This could be disastrous.
like I don't want to like talk too much old news, but like the comparisons being made at the time were being compared to the women in the Marvel movies.
Right.
But if you remember the early era of the MCU, Robert Downey Jr. had to go to bat for all of them.
He also made $300,000 for Iron Man.
Yeah.
I know that because, ironically, 2 days ago on YouTube, I stumbled across the making of Iron Man and just got caught watching it. And yeah, he got paid $300,000 for that.
Yeah.
So just like Robert Downey, Gal Gadot, like the back end deal that she got for Wonder Woman 84, more than made up for what she got paid on Batman v Superman is what she got that $300,000 on.
Yeah.
So, it all works itself out,
Yeah.
I mean, and I'm sure at the time she wouldn't have really cared. Like, somebody offers you that, you do it for whatever.
And
wouldn't
she
you?
was only in the movie for like what?
You would-
30 minutes total? It's not like,
I mean,
it's not like it
you
was
just-
Wonder Woman,
Yeah,
You know,
100%.
Crazy. All right. Well, it seems like we're all in the consensus that this may not be the greatest thing.
Yeah, we spent a lot of time on
We
it.
spent a lot of time on one person.
Yeah.
That's why she makes the money,
That's it.
baby.
That's
why
right.
she makes the money.
There it is.
Bringing in the bacon.
So moving on, we're rounding out the end of Feb, and that's gonna bring me to a movie that I'm actually excited about. I'm super happy that this is gonna be an utterly terrible adaptation from video game to film because they just don't translate well, and that's Uncharted. Even though it's got Tom Holland in it and Mark Wahlberg. Mark Wahlberg, ever since he took The Happening, I'm always concerned about what he's going to be doing because it could be great or it could be awful. And he reads scripts, but yet doesn't pay attention. I don't know what's going on. But
Is he going to be like I like the Andy Samberg version of Mark Wahlberg. Remember that from SNL?
Yeah, SNL. Yeah.
He was talking to animals and stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, like Mark Wahlberg. It's not Tom Holland that concerns me about this film. It's Mark Wahlberg.
Exactly. See, we were in agreement once again. Rick?
I'm just I don't think this is going to be a very good movie. It's just I don't know much about the game. I'm not a massive gamer, so I don't know if you need to be in that gaming world to understand it, I guess, or how they're going to do it. I think this is a prequel to the game. I heard. I don't know if that's correct.
Yeah, I think so.
Brandon will probably know.
Is that correct?
It's a prequel and a very loose adaptation because already like there are Uncharted fans who, I don't know how many Uncharted fans, but I know there are Uncharted fans who are unhappy that the origin, so to speak, of how Sully and Nate meet each other is going to be completely different from the game. And to those people, I say sorry, but I actually think that's going to help make this a better movie. I want adaptations to be as close to the source material. I get it. I understand. But as you already touched on, Joe, video game movies don't always make great. Well, they usually don't make a great success.
They don't.
Mortal Kombat.
Okay, what is the best
Doom.
What is the best video game adaptation so far?
I would say
Probably Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
Oh wow, yeah, that's
A lot of people
But
are.
is that a video game adaptation? I mean,
Yeah.
is it?
Actually,
more
you know what?
comic
That
book-
might actually be a comic book adaptation.
It is.
You know what?
As one of the better comic book adaptations ever done. But as a video game, I know this is going to sound nuts, but hear me out. I actually think, and this is not saying a lot, but I actually think Sonic the Hedgehog
Oh, that's right.
has been one of the better movies,
Yeah.
even though it's really got nothing to do with the game. But like Rick said, Mortal Kombat, and look, we got a soft spot because it was filmed here in our hometown. You know,
Yeah.
I knew people in it, I had friends in it, you know, all that type of thing. But that movie's awful. Because it's a Mortal Kombat movie.
It is.
It's a Mortal
Look, I love
Kombat
it.
movie where
I
there's
love
no actual tournament.
Terrible.
Like,
There is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
there's no tournament.
Yeah.
But Sonic the Hedgehog had charm, had made a lot of money. Detective Pikachu was a better adaptation. But besides that, rest of them, they don't work. Assassin's Creed, anyone?
Mhm.
How terrible was that?
Terrible.
You know?
I think one of the things for better or worse, I'm glad you brought up Assassin's Creed because I felt like Assassin's Creed was trying very hard to be Batman Begins or James Bond at the time, and you still see some of it now, but at the time everything was an attempt to be gritty and dark and badass, and so you've got this Assassin's Creed movie and you've got this like gray filter that's happening.
Oh yeah.
You know,
Well, they flipped the concept. There should have been more time in the past and less
Right.
time in the current, because that's how the video game plays out. You
Right.
only ever briefly in the future as such in that,
Right.
you know, that place. But yeah, it really should have been a movie that was just set in the old era and flashing back and just
Right.
snippets back to the past. They just got the concept wrong. And that's very typical, all the way back to Super Mario Brothers. I mean, like, I
Right.
remember, I think that was the first.
Yes.
That was the first, wasn't
That
it?
was the first one. Yeah.
as far as
Because
I
you
know.
wouldn't count that movie with Fred Savage. Remember the Nintendo game?
Oh,
his
the
brother-
Wizard. The Wizard.
The Wizard.
Another
I love
terrible
The Wizard.
movie that I absolutely love.
Yeah,
But that was- I don't think that was.
yeah,
a
I'm with
hit.
you.
was
Oh, we got to see Super Mario 3 the first time in that movie. It was awesome.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I saw.
But yeah, they don't work. In essence, video game adaptations don't work because it's such a different medium.
Right.
I think you've got to separate it. There's two things. There's a lot of the games now are movies in their own right. You know, there's so much talking in them now. We've come a long way
Last
from
of Us.
Pac-Man and Mario and Master Blaster, and actually, I feel like even some like Ninja Gaiden, where like had a narrative and a story, but it wasn't like a whole lot of dialogue. And now there's cut scenes and there's a whole credits at the end with actors, like legitimate voice actors and Hollywood actors playing these roles. It's weird to try and make something that's already practically a movie into a movie, but then also we get to play the games. You know, there's an interactivity that's taken away once you put it on screen. So you
100% agree.
You have to.
Yeah, I think with movies, you kind of get locked into the emotionality of it. You've got 2 hours and you're in that room and you're watching the film, and they don't have a lot of time for you to get invested in the characters, but then you're taken on that journey. With video games, that process takes over a longer period. You know, in the beginning of the game, you're just kind of getting used to the graphics, the controls, and everything. And it's later on in that journey you start to become emotionally invested in the characters.
Right.
And I do think the general public do struggle with that concept. Like The Last of Us, which was a very heralded video game, which is coming out, I believe, this year as well.
TV show, isn't it? As a
Yeah,
TV
the
series?
TV show
Yeah.
based on the first one.
Yeah. This is what this
yeah,
should be.
Yeah.
That is going to get a lot of backlash because they've had to make narrative changes because it's an adaptation. You know, the Halo TV series, which I can't wait for, looks amazing.
Yeah.
They have to make narrative changes because it is a different format. You know, in both those shows, we're going to be introduced to characters that we haven't seen in the video games because you have to in a film. You can't just have your first-person view all the way through the movie. I mean, we've seen that movie. It's called Hardcore Henry, and I kind of liked it, but it doesn't work for a 2-hour concept.
Right. It's interesting because talking about media changes, there's a very interesting twist on the Aladdin adaptation on the theater stage. I don't know if you guys ever have. Do you guys have like a Australian Broadway or?
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
I
We're
mean,
big
like,
fans.
that's where Hugh come from.
We're huge fans.
Yeah.
We're there.
Oh, sweet.
No, Hugh Jackman. I was saying we're not Hugh.
Oh,
Jackman.
Oh.
I've seen more theatre than probably Rick has. I do go occasionally.
Do you guys?
But
did you
yeah.
have Aladdin.
No, we didn't get Aladdin here.
Okay,
No.
so in the
No.
States we have Aladdin, and that
Yeah.
was really big for Disney as a cartoon. So when they made it a live action, or so to speak, Broadway play, they obviously had to make adaptations because you're not going to get a camel nor a monkey jump on stage. And they introduced, instead of having the monkey, they have 3 characters that are really close friends with Aladdin, and they have their own added song and dance number, and they have a big intro part in the finale. So it was weird for me to see it because Aladdin's one of my favorite Disney. I have a soft spot for Aladdin and Snow White. So when my birthday came up a couple of years ago, I was lucky enough and blessed to get tickets from my beloved. And when we went to see that, I was like, oh, I wonder what they're going to do with the monkey. And then I was disappointed that they didn't have it at all. I was like, what are they going to get, like a little guy to have like a little monkey? To,
Midget.
yeah, small person.
All I can think about right now, guys, though, is Rogers the musical.
Oh,
Is
man.
what?
Rogers the
All
musical.
I'm thinking about now is Rogers
Oh,
the musical.
yeah.
Did you see that after credits
saw
scene
that.
in Hawkeye?
That was terrible. What the hell was that?
It was awful.
That was
Credit
funny. I
scene?
thought it was
That was-
amusing.
That was-
oh,
But
fucking
but on the
Oh, hey, I can do this all day.
yeah. Oh,
I love
man. But on the flip side, the guy who played Jafar in the original was actually in the Broadway play as Jafar again.
Oh, that's
Really?
So there was a very nice like double-edged
Yeah,
sword with that.
Yeah.
Big connection. And then I found out that Jafar has always played Jafar. He was in Aladdin 2, straight to DVD. Aladdin 3, Didn't Meet Me. Like all these.
Isn't Aladdin 2 the Return of Jafar?
Return
yeah.
of Jafar, yeah.
Yeah, like he's in the title at this point.
Yeah. He's like, I gotta
Yeah.
be. And it's the
The real
same
star of
person.
the show.
Yeah.
No one's watching for Aladdin. It's all Jafar show.
Yeah.
I will say though, just because we're talking about this Disney stuff, am I the only one? Maybe because I'm cynical and old as fuck, but I'm over Disney having to make live action versions
Yeah.
of their material. Their animation movies are classic for a reason. They're
Right,
well
yeah.
made. They have beautiful storylines. Everything about it. It's a reason why we have such emotional connections to this. Why do we feel that we need to have live action version of everything?
I can answer
Look
that.
at the Lion King.
Yeah.
You know, didn't
I
work.
agree with you, but I would be lying if I said that there's a part of me that does not want to see it. I hate saying live action when it's like the computer animated, but
Yeah.
the photorealistic.
Mm.
I
Yeah.
want to see the Great Mouse Detective. I want to see CGI Ratigan.
Yeah.
And I know it's not going to happen because we only care about the 90s and
big one.
Yeah.
the big ones, all the princesses that make the
Yeah.
money, and then but I'm telling you, there's room for Ratigan, man. There's room.
Release the Radigan cut. That's your
Yes.
new.
Oh,
hashtag.
no, not
That is
no.
your new.
The
hashtag.
Radigan cut.
To be arguing on Instagram with the other brand.
Beautiful.
That's gonna take us to our final piece in this series.
Yep.
It's the movie I'm most excited to see in 2022.
I don't have any bias
Radigan.
about it at all.
Oh, I don't know. That shirt and that red glow that's going on in your your
What a
realm
lovely
there.
shirt that is.
I wonder what it says. That would be none other than the Batman.
Fucking yeah.
I haven't seen that poster. We don't have that here.
Gorgeous, isn't it?
Oh
That's
my
sick,
God.
poster.
I'm gonna have to have you send me that. But
Not the image, the actual poster.
Yeah. I just bring my dude at Warner Brothers.
My God, that was actually. I said I'm thrown off because that poster was so cool. But
Yeah, I love that. It's a really nice.
it's a really nice poster. I think that Warner Brothers knows we've got Batman,
Oh, yeah.
and we're really good at making Batman movies, and everything else is secondary because we'll just reboot Batman again. All the board meetings are like, all right, so how are we rebooting Batman this year? So they've done a really good job with this one. The Batmobile, I didn't like at first, but when I saw it in action, it was like, okay, this is like a year one, so it makes sense that Batman's got something a little bit more realistic. And I was like, well, what are they going to do with the villains? Like the Riddler was so bad the last time. Sorry, Brandon. The last time they brought the Riddler on screen, that happens to be his favorite Batman movie. But
I love the Batman Forever.
yeah, Batman Forever was
Absolutely did.
awful.
I dug it when I first saw it.
The beginning and the end of the series. But I was like, oh god, they're gonna have the Riddler. That could be, and then finally Penguin. I'm like, oh no, not Penguin again. I mean, that did really well in the TV show, but and Danny DeVito just killed it in the greatest Batman movie ever made, according to Joe Pombo. But it was going to be a hard sell, and then I saw the trailer, and I wasn't against Pattinson as Batman because I think he's tall, he's fit, and he's got this really brooding characteristic about
Really
him.
sparkles as an actor.
Yeah, he's a very shiny guy.
I can't believe there's a Twilight reference in this video. He sparkles.
He sparkles as an actor. As an actor, he shines.
He's great.
Is what I'm saying. He shines as a.
Yeah, and then they said they're going to put Catwoman in it. It's like they're putting a lot in this. I mean, this is going to be rough. And then I saw the trailer, and I was like, oh wow. Well, I'm here. Let me pre-order my tickets, and Brandon and I are gonna go. Right, Brandon?
Yeah, if you say so.
Yeah.
Please not the same theater. Not the same theater. Different theater.
Look, I mean, what could you say? I mean, I straight away for what I love, what I'm seeing so far, is this visceral energy that Matt Reeves is putting into this. If they're going to show you what we saw in the trailers, I noticed that most of the fight scenes, and especially that car chase scene, no soundtrack.
Yeah,
it's the roar of the engines. It's the sounds of the streets. It's the squeals of the tires, which are almost like the soundtrack. And if he goes down that way, I mean, the fact that Batman grabs a and starts beating the hell out of him with the butt of a gun, this is a more violent, this is a more schizophrenic, I think, paranoid schizophrenic version of Batman. And so he should be. You said year one, I think it's year one, year two. This is a guy with mental health illness. We should, as much as we love the Batman, this is a guy struggling with something that he hasn't been able to overcome for 20 years, and that is witnessing his parents die in front of him. I mean, so the fact that Matt Reeves,
I mean, I get it.
Yeah, the thought that Matt Reeves is kind of touching on that, and the way he's interpreting, like, you know, the Penguin, the Riddler. He's a serial killer, clearly. That's the way, and that's the way it should be done, you know, in my opinion, anyway. So, look, so far what I've seen is amazing. And, like, to me, it only feels yesterday that I was lining up to see 1989 Batman, the first time we'd ever seen him on the silver screen. Now, this is what, number 6 Batman at this point?
Yeah.
Number 6. We've had 6 different versions of Batman. And I'm excited as ever. Put it this way, this T-shirt is, I think, almost over a year old.
Yeah, it is, dude. Yeah, it is.
It is. I bought it over a year ago. Yeah. Like,
I was
that's how pumped,
totally.
you know?
He's waiting for today to wear it.
Yeah.
Literally, I've been waiting for today to wear it.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's an amazing character that you can still be invested in something that is really a rehash of the same story. But I don't know, as a general audience, we seem to be locked into that. And I think it's because he's not pure. He is, like I said, he's someone with a mental health illness.
But he's also
he doesn't have superpowers. And I think a lot of people on a subconscious level relate to the fact that he ain't all there. You know? So I can't wait. It's going to be awesome.
Yeah. Rick, what you think?
Oh, look, mate, and Jason, no, because I'm not when I heard Pato was going to be Batman, I was like, oh man, Robert Pattinson, really?
Yeah. But I was like, wait, what's this movie? What's that movie?
You know?
Yeah.
And then constantly just seeing the different trailers coming out, finding out who's in the cast, like, you know, Colin Farrell, Jeffrey Wright, you know, Andy Serkis, top level actors. I mean, even Zoe Kravitz, which is, you know, would be awesome to see. I think, and then seeing what Jace touched on it before, the violence in this movie. If they put this in a high grade violence, dirty, gritty type Batman, it's going to be awesome. And it is. I'm super excited. I cannot wait. There's so much going on. I'm interested to actually see Colin Farrell, how he goes with playing Cobblepot. And I heard that his character, he's more of not a low end kind of, in that crime family at the moment. He hasn't kind of worked his way up. So I'm kind of interested in to see how they take that character of Oswald. So, and same with the Riddler, all of them, how they're all going to turn out. So yeah, just super excited. Cannot wait for this movie. It's going to be awesome.
Here's a fun tidbit.
Mm.
You know the Skarsgård family. They were in Dune. They were in It, talking about most of their movies throughout this episode. Yeah. The other brother, his name is Peter Skarsgård. He's playing. Oh, they're all from. Are they Australian? All these guys?
Norwegian.
That's because he knew his name. Doesn't mean.
Oh,
I get him on the line, John.
I live next door, mate.
But no, Peter Sarsgaard. He's playing District Attorney Gil. Gil Colson.
Colson.
Yeah, and so obviously this is a character that's probably not going to last very long, because District Attorney is usually going to get replaced by Harvey Dent. So we can pretty much assume where he's going to end up in this film. The fact that all of the brothers are getting films in the last 2 years is pretty interesting, especially with they officially greenlit Dune Part 2 today.
Right.
So I don't know if you guys got that news down in Australia.
We did.
Oh, you did? Okay.
We do now.
Thanks, so excited.
Yeah.
So excited.
So excited. So, I mean, there's a lot of great people in this. Jeffrey Rush is in it.
Yeah.
He's playing Commissioner Gordon. Batgirl's going to get her own series out of The Flash and this. So it's very interesting to see that DCU is building their own universe and their multiverse, because they were the ones that started the multiverse. There was Crisis on Infinite Earths, which was a George Perez original that I absolutely adored in the comic world. I tried to meet George about a dozen times, and each time was an absolute failure. And unfortunately, he got some very terrible health news, and he will not be appearing at any Comic-Con ever again. So I just pray for the Perez family. But he has made such a mark on the comic universe that they pretty much copied his architecture, so to speak, of comics. And the multiverse idea, though it comes from physics, is just such a neat thing to play with. And the fact that DC realizes, oh wait, we can do a bunch of stuff because we have a multiverse. We're the originators of the multiverse. So this is going to be a really interesting way to see how this film reacts with the other films, the Justice League, the Flash, Black Adam. How is this all going to come together?
Yeah, you know what, Joe? I kind of, and Rick will testify to this because I've been spouting this for years now about how I want them to do standalones. I would love that they don't have to feel the constrictions of what the multiverse can do. Because I think that's where Marvel is. We all expect everything to connect. And I reckon, honestly, Joe, that this series will have nothing to do with what they're going to do with The Flash or what they're going to do with Shazam. I think this is a separate unit. And I applaud that concept.
Yeah.
For me, if I was the head of Warner Brothers, never happened in a million years, but I would have said, I want you to make The Dark Knight Returns. I want an adaptation of that. All right, the next one I want you to do is I want you to do Crisis of Infinite Earths. But I don't care if they're the same. Just get your whatever you think is the best Batman for that story. You cast that actor.
It's one of the.
I think that. Look, I can't wait to see The Flash because I do like how they're going with it. But I also like the idea that Warner Brothers, they made the Joker. It's a DC film, but it's got nothing to do with Ben Affleck, any of the other things. And I like the idea that they are kind of gonna go separate. But I could be wrong. We could see this Matt Reeves film at the end of it. Michael Keaton turns up. I don't know. So,
Brandon?
Well, part of the reason why I'm excited for it, I'm excited because it's Batman. I don't really need a reason to be excited for it. But what? But like one of the things I'm looking forward to is it seems like we're going to have a similar situation with the Suicide Squad, where we have this movie and then the spin-off TV series. And I know Colin Farrell is going to be in the TV series. We will see more on the Penguin in the TV series.
The Batgirl TV series?
No. There's going to be
a spin-off Batman.
It's like a Gotham. It's like a Gotham PD
Oh
Not
wow.
to be confused with the Gotham
With a-
show that already came out, like a completely different Gotham PD kind of show that I think will feature the Penguin.
Could we see him become mayor?
Yeah, it's if they're investing this much into Matt Reeves' Batman, that they're already planning spin-offs out of it. It gives me a lot to look forward to. I have a lot of anticipation for it. I think Batman is one of these weird. He might be the only superhero I can think of, so to speak, where you can adapt him literally any way you want. Because if you want, like in books, there's a vampire Batman, you know. In books, there's been a pirate Batman, you know. The toy
Batman.
Legends of the Dark Knight toys, where there was like a different theme for the Batman toys. I thought those were super cool. There's child-friendly in the cartoons. You got Batman Brave and the Bold. You'll have Batman showing up on Scooby-Doo, and you'll have Batman in some really just like dark stories as well. Grant Morrison's Arkham Asylum, just really what you can do with Batman and his rogues gallery is so special, and in a way that I've never seen anyone else do. You know, like Green Goblin's always going to be Green Goblin. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think I'll ever see a horror version of the Green Goblin. I mean, Willem Dafoe is already a horror version in his own way, but like he's legitimately scary. But I don't think we're gonna see a Spider-Man horror film one day, with, you know, being stalked in the streets or in the glider by the Goblin. But in Batman, we can take someone who's as goofy as the Riddler, because I know you don't like Jim Carrey's Riddler. I don't even love Jim Carrey's Riddler, but Jim Carrey's Riddler looks like Silver Age Riddler.
Yeah.
And yet you can also have the Batman 60s animated series Riddler, who I always forget his last name. Frank is it Gorshin? Yeah.
Gorsham, yeah.
Like he's my favorite Riddler.
Mm.
And then we can have this murderer Riddler in this Matt Reeves film, and you there's so much that can be done with Batman. It never feels played out to me. So I am excited, like super excited for this film.
It's amazing, isn't it? Does it come back to, again, me to repeat myself, because he's a hero that doesn't have quips. He's not doing one-liners. He's not standing up for truth, justice, and the American way. He's somebody dealing with inner demons and just trying to do the right thing. And I reckon you're right, Brandon. That I think just that alone gives it infinite possibilities how it's translated.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, you've got the Crisis on Infinite Batmans coming up in there.
You do. I mean, is that out this year? Or is that next year? The Flash.
Flash is this year. At the end of now this year, yeah, but the end of the year.
Okay, cool.
We're supposed
This
to
has been January, February, and March.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. And that's it, Joe, isn't it? We've just covered the first quarter.
Yeah.
I honestly, though, as we're going to do these every 3 months now, the second and third and fourth quarters are pretty exciting. There are some big movies coming out this year. And I think the weakest part is this first 3 months, to be honest with you. But it ends on a hell of a high by the looks of it.
Yeah. I'm very excited if this is the way. Look, I don't know how 2022 in the world is going to be, but in the movies, it's looking really nice.
Yeah.
About time.
Yeah.
So,
well, okay, should we touch on that before we go? Just overall, what did you think of 2021's film, slate? Did it leave you satisfied, disappointed?
I mean,
I personally felt disappointed.
I wasn't disappointed until I saw that Matrix movie.
That started early with me.
Yeah,
Mortal Kombat, Snake Eyes.
Yeah, it was rough.
Yeah, the list goes on and on and on.
In the beginning, it's rough, and then it ends.
There wasn't a lot. Like, it ended well. Spider-Man, awesome.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. It ended well. Like Jay said, started off pretty shit. It really did.
I kind of avoided the movie theaters, but to be fair, I really didn't stream a lot of movies either this year, and that's on me. I have my own, I guess, personal preferences on how I like to watch a movie, and just I haven't had an atmosphere where I could really just have some silence and just me in the film.
Yeah.
So the only films I saw were mostly superhero films. I will say this because since I deal with like comic books a lot on YouTube, I feel like it needs to be said. The only movie that I saw that was not a superhero film in 2021 was Demon Slayer, Mugen Train. It's the first time I've seen an anime in a theater in a long time. Demon Slayer was already breaking a lot of records, as here in the US, manga is like all of a sudden I can't even say all of a sudden, all the kids who were like little anime kids, the same way that we were all like maybe comic book kids growing up, the anime kids, like now it's like their time to shine.
Yeah.
And the mangas are selling like off the shelves. Demon Slayer is like a record setter. And now when Mugen Train came into theater, I didn't love the movie. I thought it was all right. It had some pacing issues, but beautiful animation. And but I believe it might be, I'm not 100% sure, here in the US, the highest grossing anime in theaters. And so I am curious about 2022 and what other animes are going to find themselves coming to silver screens outside of Japan. And I'm really curious about how well they do, because I'll check them out. If they're good, I'll check them out.
Yeah.
100%.
I love anime. I'm a huge anime guy. I've been watching anime since like Fist of the North Star, Vampire Hunter D, Ghost in the Shell. Like I was obsessed as a kid.
That's my only exposure, was the early 90s anime. Was Ghost in the Shell. Why am I going blank now? All you big ones from early 90s. Akira, of course.
Yeah, that was great.
Ninja Scroll for me was
Ninja Scroll. Geez, what was the one with the detective? The massive one in the early 90s.
Cowboy Bebop?
No,
I'd watch that.
I like Cowboy Bebop. Yeah,
I know where you're going.
Poor Rick rings me the other day, and he goes, "Hey, man, I've got a great show for you to watch. Cowboy Bebop." Awesome. Well, he had known, as I'd just been on Facebook and went, "Oh, they cancelled Cowboy Bebop."
Shattered my dreams.
So I was the poor schmo that go, "Sorry, Rick, but they just cancelled it." I know you loved it, but they just cancelled it.
It was good. That was actually recommended by a mate of mine who's into anime, and he said, "Look, you got to watch it because like a lot of the other movies hadn't been really, really good." And he said, "Nah, check out the show." And I really enjoyed it. I thought, "Fuck, this is really good." And then Jace breaks the news in the second series. I'm like, "Oh fuck." Now what?
What a massive buzzkill I am.
Yeah.
Destroyed it.
Yeah, look, it was an interesting year overall. And obviously we've seen Ghostbusters tonight, so I can't really count it. But I think 4 movies stood out for me. Three movies that really stood out for me were Spider-Man: No Way From Home, Dune, The Suicide Squad, perhaps. And I feel like I'm missing something else there, but wasn't a lot. Wasn't a massive year in film, and that's probably got a lot to do with the pandemic as well, and scheduling ideas, and films being delayed, and but a lot to look forward to this year.
I think 2021 was a big year for TV, more than movies. People are only now just still starting to crawl out of the homes to watch movies in theaters again. Squid Games to me was like the biggest thing of the year. Like it was. So like when I think about movies, I feel so out of touch. It's like, no, I really didn't see. Did anything even come out?
I can understand that.
My favorite was Free Guy, and
Free Guy's on the list. I love that film. Yeah, I love that.
Great movie, and I really
real surprise.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, Spider-Man was the bee's knees, as they say, but Dune was the biggest standout for me.
Me too, mate. Dude.
The way that he re-imaged it, there were so many elements from the David Lynch film and stuff that came from the book that kind of followed more closely, like Duncan, Idaho, lasting a lot longer.
Mm,
I was like, oh wow, okay, they followed the book here,
mm.
and just the way that they built the friendship between he and Paul Atreides was just so well done, and the soundtrack, like they use a lot of the ships, just like we were talking about in Batman. I think that's the Villeneuve. What's this? Dennis Villeneuve. That's his
Dennis Villeneuve.
Villeneuve. Yeah, I'm terrible with names. I don't know if you guys caught that yet. We got Rick and Billy, right? No.
Rick.
Truth be told, that's the joke that I call Billy because I used to screw up everybody's names when I got to college with so many people. I'm like, hey, Billy, so that's why his character name is as such. But anyway, that whole style of where's your cinema experience, you got the sound of machinery and ships being your soundtrack, I think adds such a strong element to your film. And if they're going to do that in Batman, I think that'll be fantastic. As long as he gets a theme, because the thing that bugged me most about the Batman Batman Begins series,
Dark Knight series, yeah.
where his theme was just a big ass horn. I'm like, what the
yeah,
like, what? And I'm an '89 Batman kid that's like Danny Elfman, and not having that was just such an empty space. But as a film aficionado, I really appreciated having the elements and the surrounding scapes be the soundtrack. So there's a lot to be said for that, and I really am excited for the Batman film. I just hope it's not going to be the only good movie that comes out this year. I'm really banking on Doctor Strange being really good and The Flash. But I know we have to talk about this boycott thing that's coming up with these weirdo cultists in the Snyderverse world. So, I mean, do you think that could ruin the good things that are coming out of the return of Keaton as Batman and such? Or
no, I don't think so. I think that's probably just a loud minority at this point. I don't think they've got the numbers they did when it came to restoring the Snyder Cut. I think that was a different movement, and I think these are the stragglers, the leftovers, who are just never going to be happy with anything. They do in that space. So
that's true.
So are we doing this? Being this the 2nd of January, I would say the 2nd of April, we'll be back with the second quarter of this year.
Yeah, let's do it.
Hey, Jace, you were the other movie you're talking about, Shang-Chi, is what we went watching.
Yes.
Yeah, Shang-Chi. Which was fun. Look, it was good.
It was good.
It wasn't great, but it was good.
Come on with the Iron Man 3.
Man. I was like, oh, look, they got
I will tell you, at least you got a proper version of the Mandarin.
Yeah, exactly. I was very happy with that. I was like,
look at that. We just brought it full circle.
Yeah, it did. I felt like they retconned it. Thank you.
So I'm looking forward to April now. So I
that's it. That's it. But we might put a bit of a teaser out here, guys, just before we go. Hold on, guys. If you've been watching both of our channels, I'd say in the next couple of weeks, we're going to have some super exciting news coming your way. So whoever's out there watching and that, big news with these people in this room. Big news. So hold on.
Huge, massive.
So, Joe, you want to tie this up for us, buddy?
Well, we have come to the end of the amazing beginning of our super year 2022. I've got so much joy and excitement. Priest has gone into my inner heart, and I am so ready to see what's coming with our friends down in Australia, Pop Culture Spread, and my man Brandon, the host and flag flyer for Comic Conversation. We're going to have new episodes of that coming back at you at tobeseen.com. Make sure that you hit that like button. You share this video with your friends, your families, your enemies, your multiple personalities, all your different email accounts, and all your different YouTube accounts. And you click like on each one of those and share this with maybe your cousin, them too, and subscribe to both channels. We've got the link for Pop Culture Spread right below in the About section. Make sure you support these guys. They're amazing. They're all the way in Australia. They have such a hard time living because so many things are out there to kill them. They can't even go to the pool.
Yeah, look, I got to go, mate. I got a croc in the backyard. And down on the beach,
I'm not lying. I lied to you. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank you, and we will see you next time in April when the four of us return for the rest of the year.